Warning, this podcast may contain bad language and content that some listeners may find offensive.
We're back doing a wraparound.
Well, actually, we're fucking about on the mic as well.
Right.
I recorded your little explosion thing.
Remember the guns that you used to get and they had the different settings?
Yeah.
It had like machine gun and
But every
laser
time you
gun.
pressed it came with a different sound. So if you wanted just the good one that went... you had to siphon through like about 20 other ones.
Yeah. They weren't great, let's be fair.
Remember when toys were guns?
Yeah.
Guns were toys?
Yep.
And not just ways to shoot kids in America?
Ooh.
Welcome to Seesaw Podcast with T and Cleves.
Each week, offering up a blurry perspective on life. Welcome back to Seesaw, the home of Seesaw. It's great to have you here, one and all. How is Cleves?
I'm all good, mate. How are you?
I am pretty good.
How was your anniversary last week?
It was pretty good.
Oh, just pretty good.
No, I was just sort of saying the same thing in the same way, just for comedic effect.
Okay.
It was good. No, I enjoyed it. We went to Madlock,
Madlock!
which is in Derbyshire in the UK, and it was fun. We did a lot of things. Saw some museums, ate some chips.
It's kind of like a seaside, but rather than a sea, it has a river.
Yeah, and it's in the middle of hills.
Yeah, it's quite...
It's really weird.
Nice. It's got some cable cars as well.
Didn't go on those.
Yeah, and they're pretty high.
Maybe next time.
They're a bit old and skanky as well.
Went on Pedlos.
And how did that go?
I'm just going to say this. Pedlos suck. They hurt your back. If you're over 5'8",
Oh, I thought you were going to say 30.
they are a horrible experience because it just cripples your back. They're hard to pedal. The pedaling I didn't mind. It's just my back was killing me the entire time because it pushes you back into like the plastic so you can pedal. So it's either you hurt yourself and move or you don't. You can't do both.
Pedalos are a young man's game.
They are a young man's game.
Why were you pushing yourself back into the plastic?
Because
Were they really that hard to pedal?
no,
Or you just didn't have the lower leg strength.
I've got low leg strength. I've just got long legs. That's the problem. So I could actually get my feet on the pedals. I had to push myself back.
How far did you pedalo around?
A reasonable amount.
Okay.
Good half an hour, 40 minutes.
Oh, that's quite a long pedalo ride.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem with pedalos. They seem like a great idea until you get on them, start pedaling, realising they're absolutely fucking knackering, and about 10 minutes later you're like, oh, I'm regretting my life.
Yeah, and it's like, I know I have to get back to where I hired it from. So immediately that goes in your mind. You're like, oh, shit, don't go too far. So one thing I think we should acknowledge, and we'll get it very quickly, and that is the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. There you go, we acknowledged it.
That was like a week ago.
Yeah, it was a week ago. So what has Cleves been up to? Other than, well, you've been painting, haven't you?
Yeah, I did some painting last week. That was alright.
Blind Man Paints.
Had my walls fixed, had my cracks filled in.
Yeah, you did. Fun Saturday night that was, wasn't it?
Glue and cement.
Oh, imagine not being able to poop.
Everything's pretty sturdy now, hopefully.
Hopefully.
He already told me it's going to crack again at some point. It just won't be in the same places that he's fixed. So I've got that to look forward to. Hopefully it'll hold. And then, yeah.
Sell the house in 10 years. Someone else's problem.
Life in the 30s, baby.
So,
I have a B&Q card now.
why do you have a B&Q card? You don't go there nearly enough to facilitate a card.
Yeah, it got to be 10% off at checkout though. And you know how much I spent at B&Q today? Over £100 fucking pounds.
Okay, so 10%, well, 10 quid?
off, innit?
Yeah, that's all right.
Not to be sniffed at.
Especially, with the theme of last week and this week's episode. Cost of living, mate. Get everything you can.
DIY. Try and do it yourself if you can.
And get that B&Q card.
Just for anyone outside of the UK, B&Q is like a DIY home store kind of place. And we walked in, and I was just walking around, and then this woman just popped up out of like nowhere. She was like, "Do you want this B&Q card? It'll give you 10% off. Only takes like 5 minutes to apply for it." Oh, I was like, "Yeah, okay, sure, get away from me." And then we're in the garden section, and then she popped up again. Like, "Are you alright with that? Do you need any help?" Fuck off, mate. And that's all like 2 or 3 more times. Like, I don't know if she's on commission or what, but...
Well, trying to get you signed up under different email accounts.
Maybe like the ones that she gives out, she gets like X amount back for or something. Scan this QR code. It's got my name on it. My name's Shirley.
Was that name Shirley?
I had no idea, but she struck me as a Shirley.
Especially with that voice.
Or a Tracy or something like that.
Yvonne.
You're right, I'm Tracy. Yeah. I don't know why, yeah. Someone working a Sunday in, in a local DIY home store.
Yeah.
She's got that kind of thing about her.
There's an old bird that's at the co-op around the corner, and I know what her shifts are because she's old, and I avoid going at that point because she is the most miserable old woman I've ever met. But she always chats to the other old people. It's like, "All right, Barbara." And then when anyone else who's like not over 60 gets to the checkout, she doesn't say a fucking word.
I'm fine with that. Fucking scan my shit and let's be going.
But she doesn't even tell you the cost. She don't tell you nothing.
Well, you know how much it is because you've kind of been picking it up.
You don't know if you're drunk.
Why are you... That's a whole different question. So let's move on to the next segment, shall we?
Let's go for it.
Quick blind news. You can go first because I actually can't remember what mine was. Oh no, mine was really shit. I could not find any good quick blind news this week. Basically, just, those electric bikes and scooters and shit. People are just leaving them about and they're causing blind people to fall over a bit. That's all I got.
Yeah.
It's a slow news week.
It's a big issue.
Ooh, maybe we should do it on a podcast, and if it overruns, make 2 fucking episodes out of it. Or maybe even a whole month.
We would never take a topic and stretch it over 4 weeks.
Get some comments back on it. Oh, speaking of... Oh, no. You do your quick blind news first, then I have to question you about some feedback.
My quick blind news is a somber, horrible special.
Of course.
A man has been jailed for 9 years after hitting his blind wife in the head with a meat cleaver.
Okay, I have some different quick blind news. Let's call the end of this quick blind news. Now I have some quick friend blind news. So we have friends, and they have a dog called Mabel. It's a Sprocker Spaniel. A blind person was out walking their dogs, not on harness or anything. They was just like taking them from a walk. Stood on Mabel's paw, split the paw, and now Mabel is in a cone of shame. And the 2 friends who own the dog are calling that the blind person wear a cone of blame.
Okay, did they pay for the vet?
Well, the people that own the dog did.
They shouldn't, because guide dogs actually have insurance that covers things like this.
Why was it a guide dog thing, though? The blind person wasn't doing anything. He was literally walking his dogs.
But if one of them was a guide dog...
Maybe. We don't know.
And if they're going to do that, then that's on them. Like, they should also be paying it. I mean, fuck that. Like, they hurt your dog, they should pay it.
No. Regardless of whether they're blind or not?
Regardless of whether they're blind. I don't fucking care. Like, if I did the same thing, then I would pay. I would say, I'm so sorry. Like, if I've hurt your dog, here's my number. We'll sort it out. Maybe that's just because I'm a nicer person.
I think most people I would have probably done that, to be fair.
Yeah, like fucking...
Unless they left and we didn't know the extent of the damage at the time, but...
Yeah,
maybe they should have swapped insurance information. like when you hit a car, can we swap dog insurance?
Yeah. But they would have known that they'd stepped on a dog, and that's when you do the considerate thing and say, I'm so sorry.
They did apologise a lot, but not in the terms of offering to pay for it.
Well, no, that's the thing. Like, you give them your number, and you say, if there's any vet fees or anything like that, you phone me.
Yeah, well, they didn't do that.
Well, that's fucking... It's partly on the friends for not getting that, but also they should have volunteered that information in the first place.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
People are dicks. Just because you're blind doesn't mean you can get away with shit like that.
Right. Well, now that we've covered that, friend feedback from Quick Blind News, regular feedback.
Go on.
We've had some feedback on Gary the Dinosaur, haven't we?
Okay, let me address something first off. It's not Gary the Dinosaur. It's Gary the Dinosaur with an E.
Sorry.
Okay? He has Welsh heritage.
Ugh.
It's
Sorry,
Gary.
I didn't need that to come out.
And what is this feedback that you allude to?
Well, you told me the feedback on it.
Well, the feedback I've heard is people love Gary the Dinosaur. One
person loved Gary the Dinosaur. And from what I hear, that same person also found the fact that I found it fucking ridiculous also good. I don't like not liking something, but even now, it annoys me. Do you know what? It actually annoys me how fucking stupid that whole bit was. It came out of nowhere. It made no sense. It had some sort of... I don't even know what the voice was.
I think someone's grumpy and needs a hug from Gary.
He needs shooting in the dick.
Who said that?
And then the face.
Who said Gary had male genitalia?
Yeah, well, it's right between his fucking eyes by the sound of it.
Gary will be back. You wait and see. Well, thank you for the feedback. It's good to know that Gary has a fan.
I think we should send him to school in America. I don't know why I brought that back. It was fucking horrendous. Should we just move on quickly?
Yeah, let's move on. Let's move on, shall we? Okay, so this week we are milking the topic yet again, and we're jumping back into the cost of living discussion about whether it's a big deal and what you can do to potentially help yourself.
Yeah, whilst the first episode was a little bit dire on the whole situation, this one offers a little more solution, I guess, to what it is that you can do to maybe just rein it in, tighten your belt. Other analogies are available.
And as a very, very brief update, the new Prime Minister in the UK has signed I don't think it's a law, but a paper has gone through government to cap energy at £2,500. So that's a good thing. Although people are still fucking moaning about it, going, "Oh, I can't afford it now." It's like, yeah, but it was going to go up to 4,000. Don't complain that it's only going up to 2.5 and it's capped there, plus the £400 you're getting from the government anyway.
Yeah, maybe if you were working all the way through lockdown, we wouldn't have this problem.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with me today. I'm just literally going in on people for no reason.
Two-footed, mate. Two-footed. Drop kicking people who don't need it. And some people who do.
Well, I'm sorry about that, but, times are tough and so am I.
You're overcooked beef, mate, you are.
I fucking hate overcooked. Sorry, that's a slide thing. Let's just get into today's topic.
Shall we? If we talk about things like the food prices going up and just general shopping going up, this will affect disabled people across the board, working and non-working. And I've got a bone to pick with this. I don't think it's as bad as what people make out. They always have it on the news, and there's always some old dear saying, oh, the bread's going from £1.20 to £1.60. Oh, I can't afford that. It's 40 fucking pence. No one is so hard up that 40 pence is unaffordable.
Here's the other thing. If you're paying £1.20 for bread, you're buying branded bread. If you bought supermarket's own bread, okay, you're having to cut back on what you potentially foresee as quality, and it will be to an extent. But if you just bought supermarket bread, you're making a saving.
And there will always be offers on. And prices have gone up. But if you're smart with your shopping, you can still shop on a budget.
Mm-hmm.
Like 100%. Like,
I consider myself to be on an acceptable wage. But I still buy Asda's essential shit, if it tastes alright.
Well, that's it.
Some of it doesn't. But some of it's fine. I buy that chili all the time, mate.
But it's when people say, oh, I won't be able to afford to feed my family. It's like, yes, you fucking can. It just means you can't get the 2 tubs of Pringles you get every single week. It means you can't get, like, the brand name chocolate bars for the lunch boxes. It means maybe instead of getting, like, the washing tablets from Surf, which is a leading brand, you get the Daisy variety, which are made in the same fucking factory. There's only 2 companies in the UK, and they both make everything.
Very true.
So just get the Daisy ones that cost half the fucking price. Like the people who are going to be hard up are those who are not willing to compromise. It doesn't mean you have to be like in poverty and all that sort of thing. And again, this isn't going to be everyone. It doesn't mean you always have to be in poverty, but just make some fucking sacrifices. There's always things that you can do. Just rice. Buy a shitload of rice. Eat more rice. Instead of eating fucking potato stuff, frozen, pre-made fucking McCain chips, switch out for rice. It's cheaper. Better for you.
I think people are going to argue it's a bit of a depressing existence though, isn't it, if you're living off like rice and bread?
Yeah, but when you've got the kids and they're having like their turkey Twizzlers, you don't always have to get the McCain.
Twizzlers. I know they've come back, mate, but that was an old school reference.
Yeah. But it's like you don't have to have like the brand name McCain's chips because you've always had them. Either go for the cheaper ones or something alternative.
Look, I don't know whether this makes me cheap, but I've never really bought into brands. Like, most of the stuff I buy is supermarket own brand, and that's how I keep my day-to-days low. And what really fucks me off, there's an Aldi advert there currently and they go, oh, you can buy Ariel washing powder at Asda for £7.15 or whatever it is, and you can buy this, and this from Aldi, and it's all Aldi own brand. I'm like, well, you haven't matched that to Asda's own brand of washing powder, have you? So it's a fucking false advert.
Yep.
Really fucks me off, that does.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like saying, you could buy this telly at Tesco's for £500 because they do sell tellies.
Yeah, you can buy a Lamborghini for £500,000, or you can buy about 20,000 Ford Fiestas.
It's redundant. It's completely fucking redundant.
But people, just be smarter, people.
Yeah.
Be fucking smarter.
And it doesn't mean you have to compromise. People live to their means. They always have done. It's like everyone knows that one person who has done well with their life and they've always got like more money and they do well, but then they're always skint. They never want to go out. They've never got any money. Because people live to their means. You know, it doesn't matter how much is coming in. You'll always live on it. So I don't think it's going to be as bad as what people think. I think it's going to be okay for a lot of people.
What about those disabled people that are currently working though? Because they're, a lot of the time they're not getting rises this year. Or if they are, they definitely won't be in line with inflation.
Oh no, absolutely not.
To be fair, companies can't afford to fucking do that.
No,
if I went into my company and asked for an 8% pay rise, I'd be laughed at the fucking building.
So me, I got a raise this year. It wasn't 8%.
I didn't even ask for one. I asked for a raise for a few members of my key staff, and that was it. And I haven't even got that yet, and it wasn't 8%.
But
Grunty dog from next door.
Can I have a loud dog, please? Hold the worms.
Disabled people, are they going to be more affected if you work?
So I think with disabled people, they're in the same boat as those who are non-disabled in the working community. There are going to be some exceptions. Again, I hate that I have to fucking say this every fucking time. If we don't, we get feedback from people because they are not smart enough to read between the fucking lines. I think people aren't going to be as hard up as they would be. If you're that disabled that you are going to have more costs in your life, that's being covered by things like PIP and other benefits. And from what I've seen, like Motability aren't charging me more for my car. They don't want more of my benefit.
Okay.
So that's good. That's not being affected.
But then your benefit hasn't gone up either. So.
No. But then other things that I've seen, like accessible tech hasn't gone up. Okay, taxi firms might go up. And Uber, because that's what people, some people will use those. And public transport is going up. So I'm not going to say that it isn't going to affect people, but I don't think that's going to be such a high increase that it's going to be unaffordable. I think if you're going to be really struggling with work and you can work from home, providing that it's, your energy isn't going to skyrocket.
Get a thick ass jumper.
Yeah, then maybe that's an option to look at. If not, go to the office, if it's still financially viable. And that's a calculation you will have to work out yourself. Is it cheaper for me to be in the office or at home?
Look, we've got to look at this, right, as well. If you're a disabled person and you're working, a lot of the time you've had to start at the beginning, which often means minimum wage. Dare I assume that a lot of disabled people will be on minimum or in minimum wage jobs. If that is the case and your minimum wage job isn't going up in line with inflation, you're probably going to be hit hardest. You're probably going to be hit harder than anyone, to be honest.
Yeah. But it is going up. Cost of living, wage
is going up. Okay, that's
from
right.
like £9.20 to like £5.50.
Well, in that case, I take it back. Anyone that's working, that's disabled, that has got past that first stage of minimum wage jobs and is now in that second stage and isn't getting a pay rise, that's who's getting fucked most.
That is me.
Oh.
Because I am on the banding up from the minimum wage people at my organisation.
Oh, they'll be catching you.
And there is a discussion because in some instances people below me in the banding will be getting more than me. Because my band has not been put up enough. Mm-hmm. So this is something that I'm having going on with my work. But that's something that I address internally.
There you go.
So...
got it first hand.
I don't think that... Let's round this off, shall we? I don't think this is as bad as what people think it's going to be. I think it's going to suck. Don't get me wrong, I think there's going to be some cutbacks and people are going to have to be smarter with their money. But I think that's the key thing. People have to be smarter with their fucking money.
Well, the government are giving a little bit back to people that are on minimum wage jobs as well. I hear up to £400. So, But £400 in the grand scheme of their entire fucking life isn't a lot.
No, it's not.
In most cases, if you're working and having to pay rent, you'd be lucky to find a one-bedroom apartment for less than... in fact, you wouldn't find a one-bedroom apartment for less than £400 a month, would you?
Not in anywhere that you'd want to live.
Not even around here, I can't think of one.
No.
I know someone that lives in a dingy apartment and it's £475.
It's not a significant amount.
Hey, look on the bright side, it comes at the same time as universal job credit changeovers.
What could possibly go wrong? So to cap this off...
Let's not cap it off. Let's cap it off with something good. What would you say? What can disabled people do to negate this?
I think that's a very tricky one because it's a very personal thing. It depends on your circumstances.
From a personal perspective.
I think modifying what you see as being enjoyment in your life based on your finances,
right,
I think can have a big influence. Like, a lot of people find enjoyment by going to the pub, eating out, that sort of thing, right? Maybe if you like...
Hey, they might be cutting VAT.
Maybe.
Back down to 15%.
Maybe.
You'd like to think that restaurants and pubs would pass that on, but they
probably won't. And what another fantastic idea to stimulate the economy. Yeah,
well, it is a good idea for pubs and businesses.
It is, but it's not going to fucking fix the massive debt, is it?
Might do. Get more people out.
Anyway, if you're into like food and you're quite a foodie, maybe look into what you can do at home and maybe host a bit more instead of going out with your friends. That's a really good thing to do. It's a practical skill you can learn, you can get passionate about it, and it will cost a lot less. I'm not saying you have to host 4 people and then spend all that money, which might be on par or more expensive, but you can just do that sort of thing.
So you're basically for the recession? You're basically for the recession then? You're encouraging it?
I'm thinking about how to help people who are going to be negatively impacted from the off.
Okay.
Who can't afford to do this in the first place. I'm not going to say go out and get a credit card and bankrupt yourself and get into massive debt to maintain your lifestyle. Yeah, the economy has to be kick-started, but I don't think it's going to be done on that small scale. I don't think that's going to make a huge difference. Another thing that people can do, be smarter with your shopping. Like you said, go for the basic brands.
Try them.
Yeah.
What are you going to lose for trying it once? You might try it once and you might fucking hate it. Going with an open mind, people.
Yep.
It's not all terrible.
Don't be a shopping snob, because that's the worst thing you can do. Like, you can get some really good stuff out there. Do you need to get the super noodles, or can you get the 25p ones?
I mean, in terms of noodles, there's not a grand deal of difference.
No, there isn't.
You can add your own flavouring.
That's it. And also think about what offers are being, like, what they actually tangibly mean. Like, it might be 2 for £6 on bacon, but do you need 2 for that week? Realistically, how much are you saving? 50p?
2 for £6, that's quite expensive bacon. Well, you shop in Waitrose.
Co-op. They have it on offer at the moment.
2 for £6?
Yeah.
Oh, mate, that is not cheap bacon.
Well, yeah, but their whole thing is like you're saving 50p. But it's like, also...
Just buy fucking cheaper bacon.
You can save, like, because it would be £3.25 each pack. You're saving £2.75 if you don't buy the second pack altogether. So maybe think in terms of that. Offers aren't always what you think they are. So that's always a very smart thing to think about. Do you need to have the extra one? Dare I say as well, the government could be doing more to help people.
Hey, they're slashing tax, they're giving council tax back, they're giving money back to people that are on low incomes.
Yeah, but I don't trust them. We're in this mess because of stupid decisions they made. I know hindsight is 20/200.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Too many shout-outs in this second episode.
It's the same shout-out.
You're getting multiple ones.
Yeah. I think the government could be doing more, personally.
Such as?
The main one is when you're going to cap energy companies, don't make the cap so ludicrously high that it's going to end up with that. Because they're obviously going to go to the higher echelons of it. And if some people's bills are going to more than double, the cap's too fucking high.
Maybe. But it just depends how long that cap is in place for.
Well, they have to amend it.
If they
run the fucking country, they can do what they want.
If they keep the cap in place for 10 years, then in 10 years' time, you're getting pretty sweet energy bills.
And when's that going to even out with inflation? 5 years? 6 years?
Yeah, maybe. Gives for a bit of tough times to recuperate, because they need the fucking money, and then levels out.
Maybe so. Maybe that's what we do. Or maybe people adjust to the whole idea of not being, like, gentle snowflakes, start learning to live with the cold like they used to 60 years ago.
Mate, are you really the person to be talking about that?
You know what? I would admit.
You're nesh as fuck.
I would admit that I am one of these people who is getting used to his lifestyle and is quite happy to throw money at something for my comfort. I'll 100% say that. But I'll also be the sort of person to turn around and say, if I can't afford it, I can't afford it. I'll be realistic with this. And I think what energy companies aren't thinking about is there will be that 25% who will learn to live without the heating on. And then they'll be, oh, we're not making money. And then they'll bring the prices down and people won't care because, like, oh, we're saving more money by not putting the heating on.
Buy cheap whiskey, that'll keep you warm.
Yeah, we already had the blankets. You know, we already have the hot water bottles. You know what I mean? People will be like, well, we've already got these things in place now. They're forcing the hand of people to be more efficient with their money when it comes down to these things. And those people who they convert to it because of necessity will not come back.
Yeah, well, is that a bad thing?
It's not a bad thing. But the energy companies are going to suffer from it. It's very short-sighted. Because they will have their pockets fucked because of this.
Well,
it's
great because the people that are willing to pay for it will have paid for the people that have decided not to.
So yet again, rich people fuck everyone else.
Society, don't it?
Yep.
Well, at least they're paying for the poor.
Proletariat forever.
Wow. Someone's jealous of the bourgeois.
The only booze I like is in my glass. Okay, Cleves, finish it off. 1-2 punch. Knockout.
I don't really know what to say other than... The thing is, right, normally my go-to if you're disabled is get a fucking job. But in this particular instance, it makes less sense to do that.
You're better off not working, dare we say.
Fuck. This goes against the whole Seesaw ethos.
You haven't seen the Seesaw t-shirts that say get a fucking job on them.
Fuck. I mean, I still don't endorse it, but I also don't endorse people living worse than they need to. Just write it out, folks. I think it's already been said. Live to your means. Cut back on food. Make smart choices in terms of food and going out. I won't say you can't do any of those things, but do it within your means.
Yep.
And, cut back on the energy if you can. Be a bit... Basically, just be a bit frugal.
Yep. Bit of practical advice here. Get a air fryer. If you live on your own, don't use a big oven, which is a lot of space to heat up to cook your chips.
Using the air fryer, cool.
Air fryers are cheaper and quicker. Just saying it.
Okay.
Tangible advice. And before we finish off, I will look up some resources for those who are struggling and I will put them in the show notes. So if you're hearing this and you think I am worried about my circumstances and I need some support, there will be some links in the show notes for those of you who feel like you need to talk to someone or may need that little bit of help. So we got you. We got you.
Which is oddly surprising for us.
Yeah. And if you'd like to help Cecil with their energy bills...
Yeah, fucking hell. Right, before we go, let's do some admin wrap-up, mate.
Okay.
Let's talk dice heads. If you're into... Well, even if you are or you're not into accessible gaming, particularly dice games, tabletop gaming, board games, all that kind of shit.
Something cheaper than a TV on.
Yes. Buy the game once off and you can play it with your friends for days.
Yep.
And it's accessible, even RPG shit like D&D. Well, that's largely what we covered in the first bit. New channel called Dice Heads. It features myself and T of Seesaw Podcast. You know us because you're listening. Chad of Hindsight is 20/200 and Richard of Knights of the Braille for the first offering. There will be more. If you want to contribute to Dice Heads, if that's something that you like, if that's something that you want to contribute to, we are more than open to that. Please
hit us up either at the Diceheads email address, which is
thediceheads@gmail.com,
or on Twitter at
thediceheads.
Oh, nice. I'm really glad that we synchronized that now because that makes way more sense.
Yep.
Or even if you want to contact Seesaw to be part of either that or even Seesaw, if you've got feedback on this or anything else, please fucking get in touch. When's this first episode of the One Shot gonna drop?
So if you'd like to listen to Dice Heads, the first campaign, Dungeon Daddy's Disciples, the episode is live now on this stream. It came out September 10th. It is also available on Hindsight is 20/200 and Knights of the Braille. After that first episode, go to Dice Heads, search it in your podcast player, or go to www.thediceheads.com, and you'll find all episodes coming out every Saturday for the next 6 weeks.
Saturday's a weird day.
It was that or a punch in the groin.
What happened to Tuesdays?
Well, one of us has a podcast that comes out on Tuesday.
Gosh darn it. Okay, fine. Saturday. Ugh, Saturdays. No one listens to shit on Saturdays.
Yeah, but you're ready for Sunday.
No. I can't make it a weekday.
So pathetic.
I know, but... Look, it's Saturday for now. Pending.
Yeah, and we'll see.
Anyway.
Check us out on Twitter for the real date.
Go listen to it. First episode's on the stream, right?
Yep.
Rest of them will be on the Dice stream. I hope you enjoyed the first one. It is just a bit of an introduction. Like most series, you got to get past the first episode. Give it 2 or 3 listens. You got to get into it. And like I say, if you do want to get involved, please do. It's all about accessible gaming. Anyone can play it. We even have transcriptions for these ones because you fucked us on not doing it in Seesaw. And we took that criticism on board and decided, no, we're not going to do it on Seesaw, but we will do it on any new projects.
Yep.
So if you want to get transcriptions for your own episodes, please look up Kimberly Kaiser.
Kimberly Kaiser.
Good. I struggled with the name there. Didn't mean to. Links always in the show notes. See, that's your cue to put them in. So if you want transcriptions for your own episodes, go to her. She will do you a good price.
Very, very good.
Do you have to cut that?
That might have to be cut.
Hey, it kind of reminds me of the £1 fish guy.
Yeah, that's what I was going for.
Ah, I love the £1 fish guy.
They keep it in.
Should we get the £1 fish guy to play us out?
We totally should, but I don't know how to reach him.
Oh, mate. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yeah, till next time, live frugal, live Seesaw, start gaming, keep rolling.
Right on.
Have a look, £1 fish. Have a look, £1 fish. Very, very good, £1 fish. Very, very cheap, £1 fish. 6 or 5 pound, £1 each. 6 or 5 pound, £1 each. Fish today, £1, fish today, £1, fish today, £1, fish today, £1, 6 or 5 pound,
Thanks for listening to the Seesaw Podcast.
You can find us on Twitter at Seesaw Pod, Facebook, Reddit, Instagram and YouTube at Seesaw Podcast. You can also email us at seesawpodcast@gmail.com. Like, rate, review, subscribe, and then you can also find us on TikTok, but get us on all the other places. This podcast was recorded in front of a blind audience. Oh, I hope this isn't going to be a continuing trend. In general.
I mean, American
episodes.
shootings is a continuing trend.
Yeah.
There's been one every week.
Get on that, Biden. Fuck's sake. Shall we roll the credits then?
It's pretty dark, that, wasn't it?
Yeah. Boobies!